Mark D'Amato,
And I'm Classic Gamer.
and welcome back to the Narwhal and Classix Post Play Podcast. This is where we look at a game, or in this case, games that we have both let's played and give our varying or similar opinions and experiences with those games.
Yes.
Today, we're gonna do this game by game. Then we realize that each game is like almost pathetically short. Ironically, is the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, the three games that are not really well. The first, the Return Fellowship of the Ring, its own standalone game, is not related to the other two games.
It's based on the novel,
Yes,
the original novel.
and I hadn't played that game. I'd only played the Two Towers and Return of the King, which the Two Towers has some Fellowship in it anyway.
Yeah,
Ironically, it's called Two Towers. But they have like four levels.
yeah. And Return of the King has some Two Towers in it too.
Yeah, very a short amount of it. But the first game we're going to talk about is the Fellowship of the Ring, which is based on the
Mm.
book, not on the films. And it has
The
character.
character designs are similar but distinct. Like
Yeah,
Frodo still looks like a little like Elijah Wood. Gandalf is impossible that you cannot make Gandalf look like Gandalf because gray hat, gray beard, gray robe is kind of mandatory if
yeah, and the I
you're
think
doing Gandalf.
I don't really know who voice acts him in that.
Who voice acts who? Aragorn?
Gandalf.
Gandalf. David Kay, actually.
I've not heard of him.
Have you ever seen the '90s Transformers show Beast Wars?
No.
Oh, he plays Megatron in that. He plays. You're playing. You said you were playing Pandora tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Suwadi Sedona.
Oh, that's him.
That's him. That's David Kay. He is a Canadian voice actor,
Wow. Okay.
just like Michael Ironside. He is also Canadian.
Yes, but
Voice of
that
of
Sam Fisher. But we'll
Sam
we'll
Fisher.
we'll, we'll get onto that in a future
Yeah.
podcast. Um,
They also got Jennifer Hales in the game as a few characters. Kath Soucie. Just two women who are about in almost every voice acting project, at least in like the '90s and early
well,
2000s.
she's in the Fellowship.
Jennifer Hale, yeah, she's Gladriel.
Ah, and she's also, for people who don't know, she plays Evie in the Return of the King, the Mummy Returns in the Mummy game,
Yeah, because she's also the voice actor for Evie in the cartoon.
and she also plays what's her name from Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost.
Yes, she is Thorn in Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. She is Black Cat in the Spider-Man cartoon. But obviously, most of you are going to know her as Captain Shepard for Mass Effect.
Well, now you mention Black Cat from the Spider-Man. That's like the '90s show, right?
Yeah, the '90s,
Yeah,
the one with the weird opening.
yeah, yeah. I love that one. It's my
Likewise.
it's just it's just the way Spider-Man should be shown. It's got everything in it. It's got Venom. It's got Carnage. It's got everything. Like, oh, speak
Well,
what?
okay, the fact that it introduces Michael Morbius before it introduces the Green Goblin is kind of weird. But
I haven't watched it for years, but just while I mentioned Carnage, did you know there was actually a rumor going around that the person who was going to play Carnage was Jim Carrey?
yes, I remember that rumor.
And when
But
you
we are not talking about Marvel right now.
no, we're not. But if people don't know that, that is crazy to think because Jim Carrey is crazy, and him as Carnage would be amazing. Anyway,
It would.
we are talking about Lord of the
So
Rings.
we start out obviously Fellowship of the Ring. This is gameplay wise pretty light. This game. The game's by Sierra. I remember. I think.
I think so.
And frankly, just like with their Hobbit, which we are not going to talk about because I do not want you to play this game because you don't deserve it. It's you. If you do something really really bad, maybe I'll suggest you play it. But
uh,
until then,
n-
spare yourself, mate.
no. Not gonna go
That
near.
should have just been because it's Sierra and it's the Hobbit. It should have just been a point and click. This not going to go that far, but
I'm looking
it
at it.
was
It doesn't
an.
say Sierra on
It's.
the cover.
It's not.
Um,
I guess it was that they only did the Hobbit then. Black Label, right? It was Black Label did this one.
it's it's
It's
it's not that bad. I
it's not
mean,
bad, but it's really like I famously cheat at basically every game I play. This is too easy for me. With the exception of the stealth section at the beginning, this is way too easy.
yeah.
But
Well,
you,
I mean, the game starts off basically similar to how the first film would start.
yeah,
Um,
we start. There was a Sauron, Dark Lord Sauron. Sauron. There were three elves for the elven kings under the sky. 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone. 9 for mortal men doomed to die. 1 ring for the Dark Lord in the Dark Realm in the land. 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all. 1 ring to find them. 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness find them.
yeah, a very similar
Um,
opening that shows a very similar kind of style of
hmm.
how the film was. Um, and
There are
then
two distinct, technically three. There are three distinct versions of this game. One, I played the PC version. Did you play the PS2 version or the PC version?
PS2.
They're the same game. Then there's an Xbox version, which I am looking at actually, and may already have Let's Played, which is the same game but with like wildly better looking characters.
I
Um,
couldn't get that game to work, but
yeah, I'm working on it. And then there's also a Game Boy Advance version, which is almost impossible because all the characters mimic your moves exactly, and it goes for like a JRPG approach, and it doesn't really work. I haven't played it. I just saw Peanut Butter Gamer play it, and it did not look good.
yeah, it doesn't sound too promising. Um,
But you start in the show, you get the whole thing. You get the look. We probably don't need to explain the plot of The Lord of the Rings to you. We had to do that for the Third Age because that was its own wild adventure. But this is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You know the story of
yeah,
the Lord of the Rings
I
trilogy
think it's a bit like when we were doing the Mummy podcast. We don't really have to explain the Mummy story because if you've seen the film, you know basically what happens.
and the game
Um,
certainly doesn't explain
yes,
the
but,
story.
but all you do is you don't mention the log level.
Don't mention the log line.
You know, no.
So we start. You get the ring. You get the talk from Gandalf at the beginning. You find Sam, who is interestingly voiced by Robin from the Teen Titans cartoon. Um, then you go around Hobbiton, you do some fetch quests. You, if you're smart, are collecting every single mushroom you can find because you're gonna freaking need them. You can attack with a stick. You can throw rocks at people. You have infinite rocks, and you go around. Your main goals are to get the deed to Bag End from your house and give it to Lobelia Sackville Baggins,
And you can't
also
leave the
voiced by
house
Finn.
until you get this deed.
But
the
you do
game.
get to explore Bag End. It is quite nice to see Bag End. It's all quite well modeled, even though most of it is utterly pointless. Because you have to get the deed to Lobelia, who is also voiced by I almost said Jennifer Saunders, which I could see, but no, she's voiced by Jennifer Hale.
Very
And you have
different
to get
voice that she does
though
there.
I could totally see Jennifer or Dawn French as Lobelia. She's doing
Dawn,
the voice of Lobelia,
Dawn French, definitely. I mean, like,
the
just like,
vicar of Dibley herself.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You get the key to give to Gaffer Gamgee. Um, who else
But
could be played by any given male character from the Vicar of
but
Dibley?
the in the first instance when you're doing the first fetch quest, you have to find a pin, which I didn't find. I could
You have to find a pin for the
the
mill wheel, which you get by you talk to the farmer, not Farmer Maggot. There's another farmer, old Hal, and he tells him his weather vanes stopped turning because this kid was throwing a stick at it. you can throw a stick at it. So you climb up the thing. This is how you learn about rock throwing. You throw the rock at the weather vane, it starts turning again, and what fell out of it is the pin for Ted Sandeman's mill.
I have to watch your one because I haven't seen that
I
yet.
have been playing this game since I was like 12. I have memorized it. To get that, you do some sneaking to Farmer Maggot's field if you want. You find herbs, medicinal herbs for some old hobbit. Just you get to know Hobbiton, you get to know the people. You sneak around. You meet Merry and Pippin and the Green Dragon Inn. You meet Rosie, who works there. You meet all these characters.
Yeah, the future wife of Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Then you get once you give the keys to Gaffer Gamgee, his full name, his actual name is Hamfast, by the way. And you give the deed to Lobelia. Then also for Lobelia, you have to ring the warning bell, and then get told off by freaking Robin Smallborough. Then you go back to your house. It becomes night, and it is fair to say that this game has an awful first impression. Because first you go around doing fetch quests, then you get an almost impossible stealth mission,
yeah, which
unless you know exactly what you're doing.
well, the thing is with that stealth mission is I found it really infuriating because the Black Rider that is the only one that's when you first start, he's running around
Ooh, that's the
like
thing. There's two.
yeah, I saw the other one on the bridge. Um, but there's one guy kept catching me. And obviously you'll see this when my LP is released, um, which I should get ready to be uploaded and get edited because it needs to be released by the 12th of this month. So a bit of foreshadowing and expectation for people who want to watch that. Even though you'll watch this probably after all of
Oh,
them
this is
come.
out after all of ours have come out.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So at the time of recording this, it's not. I haven't done anything more about it yet. I've been working on other content, but it will be released before you see this. Um, and the Black Rider goes round and he's running around, and then often he glitches off the path where he suddenly. I was hiding behind one of the big sort of big things that one of the big buildings, and he literally came right up to me, but I was hidden well enough that you couldn't see me. But you can't put on the ring to sneak away because they'll
Oh
find
no, of
you.
course. Though when you the first it's worth like if you're really good at stealth, letting yourself get caught once because you get this really good looking cutscene of the Black Rider draws his sword, points it at you, surrender the ring.
Yep, remember
Game
that.
over. Sauron has the ring.
Yeah, you die. Sauron has the ring. No journey for Frodo. No journey for Sam. No Gandalf falling down to his death
You
and becoming white. All that kind of jazz.
you lose. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Mhm.
So you do manage to escape Hobbiton by hiding behind building and throwing rocks because apparently the Black Riders are kind of stupid. You fight some wolves. You fight a wolf to save Robin Smallborough with your stick. Keep going. You get beset by more wolves. Too many to fight, so you put on your ring and escape. Then you sneak by another Black Rider
who
at
you
the river.
who you can't go. You can't. I thought you could go onto the bridge, but no, you
You
can't.
stick to the river and then run. Stick to the river, throw a rock to get him going the other way. Once he's turned around and like a few feet away, run.
Yeah,
And you
just
will just make it through to Farmer Maggot and the rest of the guys. And you will be taken to a level that you did not have fun with. I recall you texting me. The Old Forest.
yes. I can't talk.
Now, this is a part from the book, which is not in the movie, where you Frodo, you Sam, Merry, and Pippin get to the Old Forest. They all get lost. This doesn't quite happen, but you go to the Old Forest in the book, and you have to find them and fight spiders. But the forest keeps changing. However, it doesn't. The way it change, it you do need to get it to change, but how you get it to change is confusing.
Yeah,
It's
I kind of was just
it's a
running
whole
around
thing.
like an idiot, and then I was just almost got broken by that bit.
Then you find them all. They will help you beat up the spiders. Then you get to Old Man Willow. Um, he's your basic video game boss. He attacks you with his hands. He's gonna eat Merry and Pippin. He has them in his chest. He's gonna eat them. You hit his hands with a stick when he gets close. Dodge his root things
And
that are
don't
coming
go
up
far,
behind you.
don't go too far to the left or right because Vine,
Yeah, roots will come out and try to impale you.
yeah, they'll literally knock you off your feet, and then Frodo it takes like a year to get back up.
Just whack his hands when he attacks near you. His arms will break off, and then Tom Bombadil will show up. So yes, book fans, it has Tom Bombadil. Clearly, it's perfect. You won't shut up about this fucking guy.
I
And
mean,
he sings a
I didn't even know
song.
about, I didn't even know about him until you mentioned him. So,
He sings a song, rescues you. You go to his house. You meet his wife. Then they send you to the Barrow Downs.
oh, you have to get the stuff for the stew first. Don't
Oh my
forget that.
god, I forgot the fucking white. I forgot the fucking water lilies. You gotta go gather like 6 water lilies for him.
And while he's skipping around, you have to fight the spiders. You know, he does nothing
Or
to help.
you don't have to fight the spiders. You look for the lilies and let the lads deal with the spiders. That's what I did. Because you got
Yeah,
the 3 lads with you, so just let them. They got their sticks. They'll deal with the spiders for you.
yeah, and then you get to his house. They help you. You then go to the Bellow Downs. Is it
Yeah, the Barrow Downs,
Barrow Downs? Yep.
where you have to find where obviously those
Ghosts.
goddamn hobbit the lads have gotten lost again.
I don't get that. I mean, why do you wander off?
I think I got captured by
But why them and not you?
because Frodo's not as stupid.
Yeah, well, I suppose when you're sitting on Weathertop in the film and you light a fire that then can be seen by the bloody Black Riders, like you're an idiot.
Tomatoes, sausages, and nice crispy bacon.
We saved some for you, Mr. Frodo. Put it out, you fool. Put it out. That's nice. While Pippin yells so
Now,
loudly it can fucking be echoed.
now in the book, the fact that they lit a fire is the only thing that keeps them all from dying. Because they don't have the west, they don't stab the Black Riders or the Western Staggers. No, they set them on fire, and the Black Riders super don't like fire.
No.
So they so the Barrow Downs. You fight some ghosts because of course you do. You have to
I
find the right barrow, which is I think the one with 3 candles on it. It's tough. It's tedious. There's no. You just go till you get to the place.
and
You'll
the thing
eventually end up there.
and the thing is that if you think like there is a map in this game, but it doesn't have a zoom in function where you can actually see the area you're in,
Hmm.
which for a PS2 game like this you would expect that. I mean, The Mummy Returns has that, being the fact it's an awful map, awful. Um,
Well, because it's an awful game.
yeah, but the map
Like
just
we're not talking about that game yet, but I did tell you like, I'm going to play The Mummy Returns. Trust me, mate, that game's awful. Oh no, it's going to be fine. Texted me you texted me like yesterday. Like, is it wrong that I hate the Mummy games? Like, mate, I told you.
no, I know. I what I actually said, I'll quote myself, is it wrong to hate this game more than I hate the original Mummy game? Because that game we both did not like. Well, actually, I would say that it may not have the same sort of voice acting necessarily, and may not have the same graphical style because the Mummy Returns is better graphically. But um, the fact you can climb in the Mummy Returns still with your weapon out, whereas he has to put everything away in the first game. Yeah, it's just apart from that log level that we don't mention, um,
Yeah.
that game, like for you, hit its ruining part. But I think for me, there were a couple of points that kind of like I started to hate the game. I started liking this game. I thought this is actually really good. fun. I was enjoying it. Well, actually, this game isn't that bad. Then I got to that first stealth mission. No, don't like this bit. This game is shit. Then I got to the next bit. The boss, yeah, equally just as shit, equally just as annoying. And then I get to the Barrow Downs, and that raged me. I had to
So
look at
you,
your LP because the other one I looked at had no commentary.
yeah, but you get through. You get to the second boss, the Barrow White, which is a like really cool looking zombie man who teleport. Well, he doesn't so much teleport as like he goes into the ground, pops out of the ground, and breathes acid at you. You have to. He's not very hard. He's hard if you don't know what you're doing because he's immune to all damage. What you do is you climb up. You do a little bit of platforming up to the treasure chest in the back.
Yeah,
Open it. Da 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 da. You get the Western Stagger, and then you just wail on him with it until you give up and summon Tom Bombadil to kill the Barrow White again. So it's two bosses Tom Bombadil technically beat for you.
yeah, because yeah. And then you get to Bree, don't you?
You go to Bree, you meet all the people. There's a dwarf thing's called Nori from Nori's one of the ones from the book. He's from the Hobbit. He's another dwarf with a name similar to one of the dwarves from the Hobbit. You meet him. You meet some obvious brigands. Like there's a bald guy with an eye patch with a bent sword. There's a guy with a pointy hat called Bill Ferny. A bunch of mercenaries. You meet Strider. You sing your little bar song. There's an inn, a merry old inn atop an older hill. Right in the book. Fall off the table. Put the ring on. Get yelled at by Strider.
Who then vows to protect you in Bree and not in Riverdale.
Like in the book. That is book accurate. But the thing that bothers me about this scene is Frodo's reading the letter from Gandalf out loud because it's a letter from Gandalf, obviously, like in the movie. But be sure he's the real Strider. His real name is Aragorn. And then he looks to Aragorn, and Aragorn's like, "I'm Aragorn," even though you just read it aloud. The fake Aragorn knows this information now and could easily just tell you he's Aragorn, dumbass.
Yeah.
But that's more an adaptation. That's more an adaptation problem. They didn't don't animate his mouth for this.
Well, I think what I did like about it was the fact that Aragon in this he looks for some
Oh, he
reason
looks badass.
I think he looks more like I would expect Aragon to look, the unexpected kind of character. That is he really the king, the future king of Gondor? But
He looks like a combination actually of the movie Aragorn, the Viggo Mortensen one,
excuse me.
and the 1978 animated Aragorn played by John Hurt.
Yeah, I've not seen those ones.
He actually facially looks a bit like John Hurt,
Hmm, I don't know
a
about
little
that.
bit.
I
But
can't.
then you start playing as John Hurt. Not sure. I start playing as Aragorn,
Yeah,
as Strider. You have a good sword attack. You have a mighty kick, which is your most broken attack because kick, stab down, finishes almost every enemy.
yeah, I didn't kind of utilize the kick until a bit later.
You
Um,
have a bow and arrow and infinite arrows.
which
You
d-
go around Bree. You're looking for some melons, some hay, some old clothes, and some logs to make fake hobbits for
Mhm.
that famous scene from the from the Fellowship of the Ring. But along the way, you fight some wolves. Some guy led into town, and some human enemies. You fight a guy with an axe who is Bill Ferny. You kill him. You straight up murder the gate warden. You kill the guy with the bent sword and the eye patch, and you kill a guy who has like I think it's either a mace or an axe and a shield. You
yeah,
kill all these people.
and
You save a hobbit
you have to go. You have to rescue. You have to find Mary, who also helps you. Um,
because
and
you go out looking for him originally and the ingredients for your stuff.
yeah, you obviously have to set a trap for the Nazgul who are coming to Bree. But these human enemies are actually looking for Frodo. There's like a reward out for him because the enemy are looking for him. So it makes more sense that this happens, um, for me at least. Um, which would have been nice to see that in the films, but hey ho. But and then yeah, the kick is definitely broken. It's a if you get it on point when it actually works,
Knocks
and
them down, stab them, you win.
yeah, stab in the face, you're victorious. And then when you do that, you have to get to Weathertop, so you see.
Yeah, you get to Weathertop. When we get to the valley around Weathertop, we get introduced to the orcs here and their orc archers and wargs, which are wolves but take more hits to kill.
Well, I you also see flashes of light on Weathertop, which is
Yes.
actually a fight that you find out later that actually Gandalf fighting the Nazgul.
Hmm.
And then you fight the orcs, which I have to say look nothing like their film counterparts, but look more like an orc I think would look.
You have to understand with the orcs in the movie and how freaking manky they look and how like horrifying they are. Is that Peter Jackson is originally a horror filmmaker. He got his start with horror movies, so some of that rubbed off in a lot of his design choices.
Yeah, I mean, some of the designs are horrific in the films, but you fight, you go through all that, you fight a load of you fight, then you eventually get to Weathertop.
You fight
You
a troll.
you fight a troll on Weathertop. For some reason, the thing collapses and Frodo and Sam are stuck outside, while you leave Merry and Pippin back at the camp on their own, in amongst all this.
Oh, important. Every character who's following you is invincible. So you can let them deal with straggler enemies. They cannot die.
Well,
You don't. It's not an escort.
except when Frodo gets stabbed by the Morgul blade and he
Yes,
can die.
but you
Um,
should probably not let that happen.
yeah. First of all, you have to protect Frodo against the whole keep like a
But
whole wrath of like Black
you
Riders.
kill you kill the troll.
Yeah, you
Then
kill
you
the
have
troll.
the scene where the Nazgul show up at the fire, and then Frodo puts on the ring like a dumbass, and he sees the true Nazgul without the cloaks and everything.
Yeah.
Stab him, he goes down, and then you're Aragorn. You have a torch, and you fight off the Nazgul. And this is where after this point where the game becomes easy. Like becomes well, this is the last challenging part of the game.
Yeah,
Is
I
fighting the guys troll the Nazgul off
yeah,
with the
they
torch.
do keep coming, but eventually they will give up and run off.
There's some
Um,
cram around the fire. Your healing items are food, obviously. You
yeah,
find
but
food, you eat it, you heal.
yeah,
Easy.
a mushroom is for the hobbits only, even though you can get it for Aragorn later. They regenerate
It,
10
I
health.
mean, it's almost nothing, but you will have like if you properly loot the Shire, you're gonna have like 50 of them by the time you leave.
Yeah, I had like 35 or 40, I think it was. But the crams regenerate 30 health, while the
And then the Lembas is a
Lambus
full heal, I think.
is a full heal. Yes. And then you eventually you then have to protect Frodo after that fight, which is just before you get to Rivendell, and then you meet the
You
elf
lead
from
them
the
through. You lead them through the forest. It is possible to get the trolls with their spin attack to kill the other enemies, but it's just not worth it.
I didn't
I
try
did
that.
have a I have had an amusing glitch in my first playthrough. That this is actually on YouTube, where that you can actually look at see this is two trolls got stuck on each other and were just kind of glitching, and it looked like they were rubbing each other's hammers on their in on each other's crotches. I just should I leave y'all two alone?
I'm now generally curious to see that, so I might have a watch of that later. Because I think I have to see that to understand exactly what to picture. Because what I'm picturing is probably not what I should be picturing.
You get to you meet Glorfindel's here. Book fans rejoice. Glorfindel's and something.
Yeah,
He takes you across to Rivendell. Then you talk to people in Rivendell as Frodo. You get you get the Mithril coat and Sting from Bilbo. They get the whole mission like we're gonna take the ring, we're gonna destroy it. That's the plan.
but Bilbo doesn't like do his crazy eye face like.
Oh, that's you very little. It cuts a lot of the scenes. It does assume you've read the book as well. Some of
Yeah,
this.
and
Hey,
then
hey, 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 get down, get
you
down.
can all you can all
Come here.
yeah, I've got socks on my lap at the moment. And then are you can you hear Sebastian, can you?
Well, he's not making any noise, so I don't think she can.
Well, no, yeah. Well, she's purring. I think she knows I'm talking to someone. So yeah, I'm talking to Merrick on the podcast. Do you want to be involved in the podcast? No, I think you need to get
So
down. Go on, down you get. Go on.
then you get to play as Gandalf,
Well,
who
first of
has a
all, fir-
whole
fir-
slew of magic flowers.
first of all, you see a scene between Aragorn and Eowyn, where
Arwen, Arwen.
Arwen, and you get the sword that I didn't know you got in the first book, but he gets
In the
the
book, yeah, he gets Anduril immediately.
and then he acknowledges that he's the basically the heir,
The king of Gondor.
but then he doesn't then go on the throne until the third book.
Well, no, because they don't. You can't just declare yourself the king of a place you're like hundreds of thousands of miles away from.
Are they 100,000 miles away
They're
from?
very, very far away from Minas Tirith.
But yeah, the elves come from the woodland realm, don't they, for Helm's Deep, and they're
Yeah,
closer.
not in the book. Not
Oh,
in the
they
book.
don't get reinforced by the elves in the book.
No. A lot of people are actually very pissed off about that scene in the movie.
Ah,
But you go through the Hollis Gate. You're Gandalf. You got a fireball spell, which is cool. A healing spell, which is mandatory. Staff strike, which is it's basically the you shall not pass. Hits the stick on the ground, knocks guys over. You have a lightning strike spell, which is you are going to need this,
yeah. It can
and you
if
have a spell
you can chain
that
it
can
between enemies as well.
and you have a spell that like makes enemies attack each other. And if you're like me, you will never find a valid use for this.
Yeah,
Basically useless.
I don't think I used it. I used the fire spell a bit. I used the healing spell. I tried to use the stick plumbing it into the ground spell, and didn't really get much. But the one I went for eventually was the lightning spell. Um,
You have a mana meter.
I do like his way he finishes off enemies though. He just stabs them in the face with his staff. It's like
Yep.
right through
You
the
have
face.
there's an item called Mirror, which heals your mana. And you go through, you fight a bunch of orcs, get to the door, the famous door where it's like Melon, and the door opens. But then you swap to Aragorn because the Watcher of the Water comes out, and you got another boss fight. You got to shoot its tentacles and then shoot it.
Yeah,
It's really simple.
a bit like the Two Towers game that's
Yeah, Two
next.
Towers will have the same boss again, almost the same boss actually.
Yeah, and then
So you go
you go through Moria,
into
which
Moria.
is very different. But I like that because I like how it their own interpretation of it. Uh,
Moria's pretty like you go through, you collect some cram, kill some orcs, kill some trolls, see Gollum a few times.
yeah, I think I saw Gollum once, like at the end of something hiding behind a rock. Then when I went over and looked, he's gone. Um,
You you have two other interesting bits in here because you got a lot of cutscenes. You got Pippin dropping the shit down the well. You have a room with like four cave trolls and a block puzzle, and I do find it amusing that there are four cave trolls, and the best use of Gandalf in this situation is to push blocks to reflect light.
while the rest of your crew
Are fighting.
and also when you
Like
do
really,
have when you do have an AR character with you, the one they chose is
is
Gimli.
Gimli. Well, yeah, as my friend, as Matthew and I put it, you got Big G and Little G. Well, it's also because obviously, who are you going to pick to be the Gandalf's guide in Moria? It's the dwarf who understands Moria, who's been to Moria before.
Well, I don't think
That's how I understand.
I don't think he has.
He's been there. I think he's been there, or he at least knows dwarven architecture better than Gandalf.
Well, I mean, in the film when he sees like the dwarven city, he's like
Mm.
blown away. Um,
Again, based on the book, though.
yeah.
So who's to know?
But he doesn't know that his cousin died.
Yeah, Balin.
Yeah. The same
But
Balin from the Hobbit films that is the
yep,
old guy with the long white beard
yes,
that basically tries to convince what's his name not to kill Frodo.
Thorin. Yeah.
Yeah, Thorin. Yeah,
Um, then you get a bit where you got to sneak around as Frodo and and pull some levers.
and as Gimli
I
again
love how
with Gimli again.
there's an entire fucking mechanic about block pushing that I remember I had the freaking guidebook to this game because I had this game as a kid, and it has a whole chapter on this, and it's used like twice in one level, and it never shows up again.
Yeah, I like how when guidebooks sort of acknowledge these things, but then it's used the fewest times it is, and then they don't explain other things that you use more. Um,
Yeah,
like I
the
did.
split jump in Splinter Cell comes to mind.
Yes, and for you, the I don't think the elbow strike was
Yeah,
for you, or the looking down the scope and holding your breath, which
yeah.
I remember you saying on your video. This is the worst thing for and also yeah, like yeah, just in
But
general.
you eventually get to the part you were all expecting for the Moria scene, the Balrog.
Yes.
You get to fight the Balrog, obviously. The Balrog, the first time is almost impossible to kill because you have no idea what you're doing. You've been using Fireball. You try Fireball. Gandalf calls you a dumbass for trying to use Fireball. He kills
What
you in one hit if you get too close to him. He's
if
tough.
what if you hit him with fire? The Gandalf says out loud, "You're a dumbass."
Well, he doesn't say you're a dumbass, but he says fire will only make the Balrog more powerful.
So it's basically talking to the player there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like you're a dumbass. What you fool of a took. But what you do is you shoot lightning at him. This stuns him, and will always hit him. You cannot miss. Then you go up to him, 3-hit combo. Then immediately dodge backward because he's gonna get up. And if you're too close to him, he'll hit you with the sword, and you'll die in one hit. And then rinse repeat. Lightning, 3-hit combo, jump back, heal as necessary, refill mana as necessary. You will never run out of mana. Aragorn keeps throwing you Miravor during this. This is a surprisingly easy boss fight if you know what you're doing. All the bosses in this are like super easy if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that they are easy. If it hadn't been for your advice on the Balrog fight, I don't think I would have beaten it. I just wish I had had the same advice for the bloody tree fight, but but
So you get out of Moria, you get the scene, obviously. Hi, you fools, Gandalf. Yeah, then you're out, and then you're in Lorien, and you get another talking to people scene
and
where
then
you can
you leave the woodland realm of the
get to Amon Hen.
and you get to the shoreline, which you have to do first.
You clear it. You got new enemy type Urukai. They're
which
fine.
which I didn't really think were Urukai until I kind of like re-looked at it again and realised if they were.
You kill them, kill all the guys, kill the one troll they got, and then it's nighttime. A Nazgul. This is not in the book. A Nazgul and a Felby swoops down, kidnaps fucking Sam, and flies away. And now you got to you're Aragorn. You got to rescue him. You got Frodo with you. Go. But first, if you go first, there's a secret which I told you about Classix, but you did not manage to find.
No, I missed it.
is you have to go to certain locations before heading
I was talking
and then
about
go
it.
down.
I did talk about it in my video, and I was like, Merrick told me about that. You have to go to different things. It's a question of finding all the nooks and crannies. Didn't find any nooks and crannies. I was just getting annoyed for the fact I kept missing
You
these
check,
fucking
you kill the
archers.
enemies they got. You check the places. You see Gollum, and he goes like and like runs away from you on the things. And before you jump down the hill to progress, there's a log bridge, and you walk across the log bridge, two logs. Then you get to a place, and then you have a cutscene with Gandalf. No, a cutscene with Gollum, and he's like, "Gollum said to the presents, presents. Speak clearly. Presents for Rangers." And then he throws a fish at you, and then when you draw your sword is gone. Anduril is gone forever. In its place is a fish called Xifilde,
Which is
and
the
you may laugh,
second.
but this is the single most powerful weapon in the entire game.
Yeah, and the one you get before is the second most powerful, but this is the.
I'm doing Xifilde, single most powerful. It kills archers in one hit, wargs in two hits, Uruk-hai in three hits, and trolls, which are one of the biggest problems for you enemy wise, in only four hits. This sword is a joke, and I love it, and I'm glad they included it as a little bonus secret Easter egg.
Yeah, little secret, little Easter egg, and then you have to work your way up. You then hold off the.
Having a much easier time now now that you're slapping them with a fish.
Yeah, which might blow people's mind thinking of a fish. It's like, yeah. Anyway, I have to actually play it to actually see this for myself because it just sounds just amazing. But and then you get
You swap to Frodo for like 4 minutes.
yeah, and if you, this is another thing. I realised this. If you go and you fight all the enemies, if you then ignore all the enemies, you run all the way up to where it changes back to Aragon. When you then follow Frodo, all the enemies that you get on the way as Frodo are dead.
No, I didn't have that.
I
I
did.
didn't kill any of them. I just booked it. They were all there, but I had my fish now, so I just waded into combat and kicked all their asses.
Well, they were all dead when I went back through. Probably because I killed
Maybe
some of
that's
them with.
a PS2 thing. I just ran past all of them. Might be a PS2 PC difference. Because I definitely had to fight them, but they were not challenging.
Very likely. Excuse me, just coughed.
Then
But
you get up to the mountain, to the top of Amon Hen, and then there's the Nazgul flying. The Nazgul's on the ground. It
oh
can breathe
god.
green fire somehow. So you go up, you whack it a few times with your fish or your sword if you didn't get the fish. So you beat the Nazgul with the fish and it flies away. And then because it can breathe fire apparently, using the throne on Amon Hen as like a shield, you shoot it as it passes over, like fighting a dragon in Skyrim, and like I think it's 3 shots and it's dead.
Well, I didn't know any of that because I went up on the throne and got hit by the poison fire, and then yeah, I got hit. But you beat the fell beast, and then the game ends.
On a
Um,
cliffhanger, obviously, but they did not get to make their second game, Treason of Isengard.
yes, unfortunately they didn't because obviously the other games came out and the license got transferred, which is a shame because this
Well,
game.
they both had the license. They both had the license, but their game they had their idea for the game, and then the Two Towers came out and was the same thing. So I was like, why bother? We'll just be looked at as a clone of this game now, so whatever. And
Well, the
then
thing is there's so many clones of other games that have come out that have been exact clones, are just named
I
differently.
I know, but there's a difference between like for the Lord of the Rings games. There's the Two Towers game, and then there's the Revenge of the Sith game, which is a clone of the Two Towers game. But it's different to have the Two Towers game and then another Two Towers game, which is a clone of that Two Towers game. It hits a little differently.
That's quite a mountain of information to take in all at once. So I'm just turning on my fan. So if people hear
Yeah,
my fan in the background, I need it on because it's getting quite warm in my room.
yeah, because like Britain is almost on fire at the moment, so
Well, not so much
heat
at the
wise.
moment. It's currently 19 degrees at 20 to 11 at night, 25 to 11 at night, which is quite warm. Um,
So the Fellowship ends, and then we get to the Two Towers game by EA,
yes. Um,
and we're back. We start way back at the beginning
as
at the great
a sealed
battle, the
door.
last alliance of men and elves as Isildur. And it's just a tutorial. You're killing orcs. You're learning how to play the game. And then we get a really nice transition from Isildur to Aragorn. And I guess this
I'm a
whole
sealed
game is
door's
being
heir, not a sealed door himself.
I guess this whole game is being told to Eowyn at
Yes,
Helm's Deep,
it
given
is.
the framing.
It is.
All right. And you start on you first level, like first proper level is Aragorn. You are Aragorn, and you're on Weathertop, and you are fighting Nazgul to protect Frodo, and you're hitting them with a torch
Yes, and this
as
level
you light
you
your torch from the fire. It's much more fun than the Fellowship of the Rings version of this.
yes, but in this game, when you complete a level, you can get a number of 4 ratings. You can get fair, which is the lowest, good, which is
Good.
good, excellent, perfect, and it's not unheard of to get perfect on this level with Aragon because you can rack it up pretty quickly by attacking the Nazgul, and then I think I got good on mine. I didn't quite get perfect, but I don't think I got perfect at all during this. Um,
My recommendation for fighting the Nazgul is heavy attacks.
yeah, you need because that's the way that you swing your sword and your torch. And then you beat the Nazgul. It's got some nice movie.
Oh, you got for attacks. You got light attack. It's your basic fast attack. It's your speed attack. It's called heavy attack, which is self-explanatory. Physical attack, which is like you kick them over.
I never use that.
Uh, Killing attack, it's basically useless in this game. It's not like the one hit kill it is in Fellowship. You parry, jump back, and then you have your ranged attack. So you fight the Nazgul, and then you get some cutscenes. Uses mainly scenes from the movie for its cutscenes,
Yes, it does.
and then you're on Caradhras, and you have to go to find the entrance to Moria.
Yeah, and in this one, you arrive at the Moria place before you get down to the gate, and this land has changed. We will wait here until the path ahead seems safe. If you are any one of the characters, they have a unique line. So Aragon says, "We haven't heard from Moria in many years." Um, Gimli says, "When in doubt, send in a dwarf." And then Legolas, I can't remember what he says.
I played various levels as various characters, mostly Aragorn because he was my favorite. Um, you played mostly who?
I played all 3 because I like to show off all of them because they do have some unique attacks, even though some of them are pretty much
Well,
the same.
I showed off all the characters, but I had mostly Aragorn, and then like Legolas in a certain level, and Gimli in a certain level that I felt most story relevant for that character to be.
Yeah, so you would like, I would say one to use in this one. I mean, you do see Boromir as well, but he's not a character that comes with you. In fact,
No.
he's not even in the next level, which we'll get to in a minute. But you then also Frodo is in this, but the other hobbits are missing. Um,
Hmm.
and then you get through this level. You fight some orcs. You then
You
fight
fight
the.
the Watcher in the water again.
You do
You parry its tentacles until its head comes up, then you shoot it in the face.
well. Actually,
Really easy.
to make it actually come up as well, you can actually go in the water and cut off the tentacles, which also makes its head come up.
Hmm.
But that is a much more dangerous thing. I did that because I didn't know you could parry it until it would come up. Um, but You then get into Moria. You don't go.
Moria is very denuded. It's just Balin's tomb,
It is Bran's tomb, and
and you fight orcs. This is where I played as Gimli because I felt obviously this is where if I'm going to play Gimli on only one level, it's going to be Balin's tomb because they will find there's one dwarf in Moria who still draws breath.
yep. Let them come.
And
um,
you fight the goblins, kill them, and then you get up to then the cave troll comes in.
yes.
And interestingly, the cutscene introducing the cave troll is probably the single worst looking thing in this game.
Yeah.
Because what it doesn't look like the game model. It looks like they took the untextured animatic that they'd use in the movie and put that in.
Actually, now you say that, I kind of can picture them doing that. I mean, this is EA. I mean, they don't go very far to make things look decent.
But
Um,
then you're fighting the troll. You chuck axes at it or shoot it with a bow if you're another character. You might think it's a good idea to charge up your attack. Don't do that. Do not charge because you will get hit and interrupted, and it's just a waste of time.
yeah,
So just light attacks will do. You'll find more ammo. It's fine.
and the
You'll find
attack.
orcs to kill to get more health.
I would also recommend if you can using Gimli's Balin's Gambit or Balin's. There's Aeron Swift Terror.
Balin's, yeah. There's there's Isildur Swift Terror for Aragorn, Elrond Swift Terror, fucking somehow, even though they're two entirely different kinds of elf for Legolas, and Balin Swift Terror for Gimli.
Yeah. Um, but the fight against the troll, he will then eventually get a chain after a little bit, and you then have to hide behind the pillars, and you also get ambushed by an orc on there, so be careful because that will suddenly come out of
The orc,
nowhere.
the orc exists to heal you and give you more ammo. That's why he's there.
hmm But he will come out of nowhere, and if you get up there
Yeah,
with virtually any health, you're dead.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then it will start you from the beginning of the level, I think,
yeah.
um, which is very annoying.
Uh, yeah.
And then you defeat the troll, all is good, and then you see the where Gandalf is on the bridge. We all know what happens there, and then you get
You
to
don't get to fight the Balrog in this one.
no, you don't, but you don't get to play as Gandalf either. Um,
Yeah,
even though
you're an
in
Amon Hen.
even though if you watch if you watch the interviews with the characters in the early versions of this game, because they do show that like the beta version that they're playing, like all the cast and stuff, in Balin's Tomb, you see Gandalf use his attack he uses in Return of the in later in the game when he's going off the white when he slams the floor and they all die. He uses that in the footage of the game in the interviews. I can't remember which one it's in. It's in one of the Hobbit. I think it's in the Frodo one. Um, and I don't know why they didn't have that in the game because it would have been good for Gandalf to use that, especially it would get you a good or an excellent, and you could rack up your perfect bar. Um, but that doesn't happen. And then you leave, and then
You
the
go
next
to Amon Hen. The whole thing happens. Boromir tries to take the ring from Frodo. Frodo puts on the ring, and then you gotta go. Then Boromir gets into his Boromir fight. You gotta book it. Gotta kill like 40, 50 Urukai.
60.
60 Urukai. Shit.
Yeah,
Kill 60 Urukai as you make your way there, and then you fight the Urukai who killed Boromir. He is called in this. He doesn't have a name in the movie or in the book, but he has a name in video. They had to give him a name in like because they wanted to sell toys to the guy, and they wanted him to be bosses in video games, so they had to come up with a name for him, and he is called Lurtz.
yeah, and he's actually, if you look at that in the film, you actually see who he's played by, and the guy who plays him plays other. I think he plays the Witch King in the film as well.
Yeah,
And some of these characters, if you, I watched Then and Now video the other day, which is really good to watch if you want to what they look like then and now. And ironically, when it did the Legolas one, it said Legolas then and now, and anything said dead or died. I was like, hang on a minute, is this talking about Orlando Bloom as he died? So I had to research that because I was like, no, Orlando Bloom hasn't died. And then I saw there was actually a fake. There was an accident that he had where he escaped death, where he basically almost broke his back. Um, which I didn't realise that had happened, and I'm glad he's okay, because he is one of my favourite actors from this film. I love him as Legolas. Legolas is my favourite character by an absolute mile. I love Legolas. He's so good, and that goes into the fact that he's then in Pirates of the Caribbean, where he's
which
equally as good.
also has a game like this based on it.
Is it like this one? I haven't played that, so
Uh, Dead Man's Chest and World's End are not, but The Legend of Jack Sparrow is.
ah. So the Legend of Jack Sparrow is a unique story, I take it.
It's the account. It's the events of Black Pearl as told by Jack Sparrow.
Ah, right, okay.
It's interesting. So you fight Lurks. He's first he's shooting at you, and you're shooting at him. You're having like a little bow and arrow duel, and then he's essentially spinning around the battlefield with a sword,
Yeah, he picks up
and you
one of
gotta let
them.
him get stuck in a tree.
Well, no, it's one of those statues. So,
Yeah,
in order
and then you have to
in
yeah.
order to get his health down quickly, use your Swift Terror, one of those Swift Terrors. It will later on, if you go back and replay the game later as a higher level, you'll I think I killed him in 2 hits at one point. Later on,
Oh,
um,
there are attacks that like kill goblins in one hit, kill orcs in one hit, kill trolls in one hit. Don't bother. They barely work.
yeah,
Don't bother with those
the
attacks.
only one I used, because the only one I learned was the Swift Terror one, because it basically will. There is one that will destroy a shield outright and then instantly kill the enemy, but I found that whenever you do stab sometimes on the ground, especially in Return of the King, I was stabbing them, but it wasn't registering. And I can tell you now, that is infuriating, especially when you've got no life and then you die after that initial thing that happens, and then you rage because it's so annoying. So
So
you,
after Amonhen, you got Fangorn Forest.
which
Basically,
you,
you're killing orcs until you get to trolls who throw trees at you. It's just a kill a bunch of shit mission.
yeah. So, but the final part of that, I mean, you fight the first troll, which is pretty simple. I was dreading that level when I played it recently. But I actually found the first troll to be pretty easy and pretty simple. The next one is when you get to the pit and the orcs are there, and one gets knocked in the hole and you hear him die. And you go up the river, and then you go into a tunnel, and then you fight another troll, and I had to retreat as one of the characters to go back and get health because I was literally on the verge of death. And then before you can complete the level, you have to fight two trolls. And because they're so slow at getting up, these characters they get knocked down and take like a year to get back up. And unless you have a rising revenge, you probably won't hit the troll because they won't come near you. And then when you after you do this, you then have the plains of Rohan, is it?
Yep, Plains of Rohan.
Where you
There
have
are a bunch of very samey Rohan levels where you kill Urukai. There's one where you have to get rid of a bunch of mines by essentially by blowing them up. Okay, you save some villagers, put out some burning buildings. You fight another boss called Sharku, who is riding a warg, and like, he summons guys, kill the guys. He comes out, fight him,
and
and then he rinse repeat.
the way that I beat him, and the only way I can figure out how to beat him properly is you go right down to the river because he will come at you, and he will if you try to attack him, the warg will pick you up and throw you back down. The way that I killed him and the way I recommend to kill him is to wait in the river to kill when he goes and now kill that one. Uh, Attack the guy on the rock straight away. He will die, and then when he rises on his hind legs, that's where you then attack.
That's when you. I know that when it gets up, you attack him and
But
you knock
don't
him over.
but don't
Then you can
attack with
wail
the
on him.
bow. It will take off absolutely hardly in your life, especially
Yeah.
early when you haven't got the upgraded bows. Um, and then when you beat him, you then get on to the first of the 3 levels of Helm's Deep.
Yep, Helm's Deep. First one, you're on the wall,
And
and they're
it,
bringing up ladders. You kick the ladders over, you kill the guys. This is easy for this bit, relatively easy.
don't let yourself get overwhelmed because the wall will get overrun, and then
Ladders take but remember, ladders take priority over Urukai.
except when you've got so many that when you try and get near a ladder, they keep knocking you back down again.
True.
So if you get too many ladders, the thing will go up, and then when it starts, as soon as it starts like pulsing, you're close to being overrun. You have to make sure you. I mean, I've had it so you've had no ladders on the wall at all, and it still had a little bit of the bar up because for some reason it's yes, even though there's no ladders. And then you do that level. That level's fairly easy, as all characters you can do it
Then
as.
you get the hardest level in the game.
Well, there's actually three parts of the Helm's Deep wall. There's the
Yep.
first part, then they fire in fire arrows, then they fire in the catapults. And I got to that part on the first time I played it, and I got knocked down by an urukai, and then a fucking cannonball hit me and killed me.
Ah.
You will see this bit when you see my let's play. It is probably the most infuriating bit up until that point.
But then you get the hardest part of the game,
The worst
which is
level in the game.
the deeping wall, where you have to keep them from blowing up the deeping wall, and
Well, you have to
it's tough.
you have to stop them from getting into the door that leads up to where the women and children have gone.
Yeah.
For some reason, you're still evacuating the women and children during the battle.
They're coming in Urukai with the bombs on their backs and torches. They are your priority, but however, they're also sending all sorts of other Urukai at you too.
Yeah.
And
you can.
This is ideally Legolas because he is the fastest and he has the highest damaging arrows. Possibly Aragorn, but if you're an absolute masochist, try it as Gimli, who is the slowest and has the shortest ranged weapon range. It is interesting to play, and you keep fighting them off, and there's so many of them until they bring in a fucking catapult, and they have to break its shields on either side, then its shield on the front, then the catapult is done, and you win.
Yeah.
And then take a minute to breathe,
get
a drink, and dry the sweat off your palms.
But before that point, you have to protect the door as well as kill the urukai and the enemies. My advice is as soon as they come in for the deeping wall, target the guys with the bombs in their back because they will probably kill about the other guys that come in with them. And then just before, as they bring in the catapult, they send in the leading general of the urukai. He runs at you. He's pretty simple. You just knock him down. And he dies in one hit. And then just before you go without the catapult, they bring in a troll.
Yeah.
And also in this level, there are no AI characters to help you. There are no elves nearby to help you. They're all fucking on the wall fighting. Even you can see Legolas on there. If you're someone else, you can see Gimli, I think, on there, and Aragorn. Even though Aragorn was meant to be knocked out in amongst the stuff, and Gimli does jump down, but then you have to. The thing is that when you go towards the catapult, there are people firing arrows at you. There are a bunch of people with shields in front of those people, and then there are urukai amongst the catapult. And while getting hit and knocked down, you have to target 3 shields on either side, which will make the catapult collapse. And then once you've done all that, providing that and also the catapult is also firing at the door. So if you're like on the red part of the life bar, you're more than likely going to fail. And if you fail, you go back to the beginning of the level.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but then you got the courtyard of Helm's Deep,
which is not as bad.
Not as bad, and you keep fighting, keep the gate from being broken, keep yourself from dying, keep your friends from dying. You have to go save them at 2 different points. And once you're almost done once 2 trolls show up, because you kill those 2 trolls and then you're done.
Well, actually, if you kill one, and then the other one, I think it might trigger a cutscene where the other one falls into the door anyway. Because that's what happened with me. I didn't kill the second one on my last time. I think I played it last with Aragon, and I killed one. I died just before it because the troll managed to get in just as I got there, and it was like on no health. Um, you do have to rescue each of the characters, and then you have to attack the archers that are on the other end of the wall, which are firing at the door. I don't know how they can see the door. Um, there are other characters in the thing helping you. Um, you then go, we can no longer hold them into the Great Hall, and then you
And
have
then
the
you have the cutscene, and then the game is over.
yes, but you
To
also
be continued in the Return of the King.
yes, which oh
And
boy is an upgrade from this.
oh, in almost every respect, graphically, gameplay, there's multiplayer, there's more characters. It is so much more fun.
Yes, and you start this game
In
well
Helm's Deep
in
as
Helm's Deep
Gandalf.
as Gandalf, which you
This is
own.
your tutorial.
Yes, this is your tutorial. The HUD is different. Everything is overhauled. It's actually a lot nicer to look at, a lot cleaner, I think. Um,
Mhm.
and you learn how to use his staff.
Interesting, but minor change. In the Two Towers, any character you play as, their HUD is attached to Aragorn's sword.
Is it?
All of them have Aragorn's sword. On the In Return of the King, it's character specific. Aragorn has Anduril, Legolas has his bow, Faramir has his sword, Gandalf has his staff, Gimli has his axe, Frodo has Sting, uh, Sam has his sword, Merry and Pippin have their swords. It's all character specific.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's minor, but it's something. It's just something really cool. You can consider the Two Towers to be like an intro or tech demo or proof of concept for Return of the King. Return of the King's that much better.
Yeah, just to warn everyone, my alarm for my medication is going to go off in literally 3 minutes. So if you hear something and you hear me say Alexa, shut up, that's why. Um, just my pain medication. Get a lot of pain recently. Anyway, I don't mind leaving that in. That's perfectly fine for
So
me.
we do the Helm's Deep. That you blow up the bridge. You win the day. You learn how to beat Gandalf, and then the game splits into three possible paths. There's the path of the wizard, Gandalf, the path of the king, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, or the path of the hobbits, Frodo and Sam, or Frodo and Merry, because Sam and Merry, because Frodo's unlockable.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know why.
Merry's only there for multiplayer.
I
Don't know
don't.
why he's not Frodo.
I don't know why you can't like the only time you play as Frodo is the final level of that path. The Hobbit's path is by far the shortest.
And
Um,
the hardest,
yes.
because it has fucking Shelob.
Oh.
But you do it first. You choose your path, but then you're stuck on that path until you beat it. However, I did it. I unlocked all the stuff first, so I could play the levels in any order I wanted, and I did them in movie accurate order. So Helm's Deep, Escape from Osgiliath, Road to Isengard, Paths of the Dead, King of the Dead, Minas Tirith, Top of the Wall, um, Shelob's Lair, Minas Tirith Courtyard, Southern Gate, Pelennor Fields, Cirith Ungol, the
Did you
Black
miss
Gate.
the King of the Dead as well? Because that's in there somewhere.
No, I did that right after Path of the Dead.
Ah, right, okay.
So, and then of course the Track of Doom last. Um, Pretty much the same thing, just like longer levels and more to it.
But the thing about like the Path of the Wizard, Rosa Isengard is basically just for some reason you go a very short route all the way through Fangorn Forest with the Uruk-hai running away from Helm's Deep, and then suddenly you're at Isengard, and you hear Christopher Lee, God rest his soul, say, "So Gandalf Greyhelm has come back to Isengard seeking my counsel," and then you hear Gandalf saying, "I've come back to here, no longer seeking your counsel."
There's some you blow up some siege towers that are built by stupid people because they have the siege towers, like the watchtowers, built right beside carts full of landmines.
Yeah, don't understand why.
So you fight through, you blow up the dam so the water can come in. You avoid ants while killing like 25 urukai, and it's pretty fun. From there on the path of the wizard, you go to Minas Tirith,
On the top of the wall,
um, top of the wall. It's basically the Helm's Deep wall. It's the same thing except they're bringing siege towers.
and it also is a lot longer. It's not. It's a bit more twisty and windy. If you don't know where you're going, you can easily go up the wrong tower when you have to destroy
All
one
you
of the
need
siege
to
towers.
all you need to remember is that the map is upside down, and then you understand it perfectly.
Ah, I didn't realise that.
The map is exactly upside down of where you are. So you push over the level the ladders with physical attack. Siege towers come in. You shoot them. They blow up, and then you kill the urukai who are on the wall. And then at one point you just flee. You
And
run. You give up, and you run.
and you also can take out a down tower with a catapult as well.
Yes,
And
but I didn't
then
do that.
no,
I think that's another level.
no, that's the same level. Same
Oh
level.
shit. Then from there you go to the Minas Tirith courtyard,
Which is
where
based,
it's filling with orcs and uruks and trolls.
and it
But
is,
and you gotta survive long enough for 200 civilians to escape.
yes, and it is a gaping wall level, but it's a lot more ironed out without all the annoying extras. There's
And if you're like me, you're playing this multiplayer, so you have someone to help you.
Yes, I mean it is. You can still do it single player. This is probably one of the easiest. I did this in 10 minutes on my first try, and then my video corrupted and I had to do it again, which took me 10 minutes
I'd
again.
argue that this game is infinitely more fun
Yeah, I
multiplayer.
mean the problem that I had with this level recording it was I recorded it, I did it really well, and then because my video corrupted, I had to scrap that one because I couldn't recover it. I didn't even try. And then when I went back to it, I was like 4 levels stronger. So I had like the fire staff
Yeah,
and the fire well, like and the thing with the shield, which I didn't really use. But also, if you get when you get the trolls in this, pro tip: use the spears that are dotted around
yes,
inside those things because it is a one-shot kill on the trolls.
yep.
As long as they actually he throws them where you want them to, and then you kill them in one hit, and then basically Gandalf's journey or part in the battle, in his words, is done. Um,
And then it's on to the Path of the King,
yes, and you
where first off you go through the paths of the dead, so Aragorn can get the army of the dead.
yes,
And it's pretty basic. You kill ghost skeleton monsters. You turn some cranks. You lower some bridges. It's pretty simple. It's really many cases going to be your introductory level because I think on in single player on the PC version or in multiplayer in the PC version is the first one accessible because you can't access the other two yet.
what you mean Legolas and Gimli?
No, Path of the Wizard, Path of the Hobbits. On
Oh
the
right,
PC multiplayer, you are locked in. If you're playing new game, you're locked into the Path of the King first.
ah,
So you go through, you kill the ghosts. You get to the boss fight where you fight the King of the Dead. He's pretty easy. You attack him.
wind of the mountain, I command you.
You, you you hit him with swords. He teleports away. He summons guys. You kill the guys. He gets to the second phase where he's shooting the wind, and you shoot arrows at him from behind a rock. You beat him. He does what we call load bearing boss, where the entire place starts to collapse, and then you just run.
Yeah, and
If you're playing,
all the while you go on the bridge that you go into first, where you go into the first, where you fight him, and then you go, hurry, everything collapses, and then Gimli and Legolas run off and leave you.
I do find it funny. Like I was playing it with my friend Matthew. So we're doing a multiplayer. I'm Aragorn. He's Legolas. We're running, and then Gimli just kind of gone. Take us with you, man.
Yeah, and
But
then and then
it's pretty easy
and
if
then
you know
you
what you're
don't
doing.
see them until they're literally before the bit where you exit the level.
Mm. Well, there are combat bits where they'll show up for interspersed.
Not on the one when I didn't see Gimli at all.
Really?
No,
Wow.
both of them did not appear at all. I was on my own. That's why I died and had to start over again as Aragon because I
But
got trapped by
point
those.
is, you escape, and then you get the next level, the Southern Gate, where there's this little fortress, and first you fight a bunch of orcs and urukai. Then you shoot a catapults at it to break the tower. You go up the tower. You kill a troll. You open the portcullis, and then you can like defend a whole bunch of orcs attack it to keep it from going through. And quite fun for me. You can actually tip. There are these cauldrons of boiling oil, and you can tip them
Yeah.
over and over again on the enemies. Have a little Hunchback of Notre Dame action.
Well, they kind of get smart because if you do it one after the other, they'll run away and they won't come back for a minute or two. Um, and then when you go, then also the troll's there as well. Before you can try and open the gate before the troll is dead, but he will literally hold it shut. So you can defeat the troll this way as well. But then also the Urukai and the Orcs down at the bottom of the tower before you climb it up are infinite. They just keep coming. So you can
Yeah,
just stand there for as long as you want, getting kills, getting goods, getting excellence,
it's
getting
actually
perfect.
that and levels in the Paths of the Dead when they have like the whole enemy the stone that comes up and like spawns out ghosts.
Yeah.
These are actually, if you want to grind up a character, these are perfect.
Yes.
You just stay there and fight them forever.
Yeah. You can
It's
do that.
boring. It's really fucking boring, but you can do it.
Yes. You can do it. It's definitely something that is worth considering if you want to do that. Um, and then when you've done the Southern Gate, you
Go to the Pelennor Fields, which this level is a bastard
yeah.
because you have to first thing you kill 65 Easterlings, and every single one of them you cannot kill with damage. You have to stab them when they're on the ground.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, like,
a pit.
can
Not a
we
fan of that.
can we not just talk that much about that level because it kind of haunts me?
Okay, point is you go from point you go to one thing, you kill a Mumakai before it kills Eowyn and Mary.
And
Go
then
to another if you
and
go
you've
to
also
another
got the
thing.
Witch King as well circling above.
Yeah. Interestingly, you see then you go to another one, kill another Mumakai before it kills them. Then you shoot the Witch King's Nazgul down, Felby's down, and he fights Mary and Pippin. No, Mary and Eowyn. Interestingly, this is not the Witch King from the movie. This is a concept art because this movie was made before the film was. This game was made before the movie was released. So they had like early concept drafts of what the Witch King looked like instead of the Witch King himself, which is
Ah.
why it looks a bit different.
Well, also the other thing as well is that when you have to fight the elephants or the Mukai, um, one at one point if you go one side, they'll appear that side, and then they'll appear the other side, and then it will do that 4 times, and then the Witch King, what, and then Mary and Pippin,
Well,
Mary and
if you go to the right side and the left side, you only have to kill two Olipons.
yeah, but the Witch King and the elephant can
And unlike in
kill.
the Third Age, you can't just fucking miss it, which makes no goddamn sense.
And somehow you missed the giant elephant.
Yeah, I'm still sour about that. Still salty.
How do you miss an elephant? Just like they just raised
Yeah,
in.
the point is you kill them before they can kill Mary and Eowyn. You save the day. Then you go to one of probably the hardest level in the game, the Black Gate.
Yeah, this level you have to fight the mouth of Sauron.
Not that hard,
No, but he
but
will do this annoying leap and stab at the ground, which does a, a like an earthquake kind of
a shockwave knocks you down.
shockwave. That's the word. Thank you. And that will knock you down. What I did was just attacked him with my heavy attack, and then just swung with my quick attack, and that knocked him down quickly. And then you have to kill 6 of those really armored up characters, which are you have to use your heavy attack to knock off the first amount of armor. But if
And
you
if the game's feeling like a real bastard, it will not spawn them.
Yes, and you'll just get endless. And also, you have to, if you go up to, I think it's Legolas, Aragon, or depending on who you are. So if you're Legolas,
It's
there'll
whoever
be
you're not playing.
the other 3 will appear. Um, the
Another
exception of
benefit to
Merry and
playing
Pippin
this
won't appear though. They're the only 2 who don't.
multiplayer is if you because it's everyone you're not controlling. So if 2 of you are playing, that's only 2 people you got to protect. Think about that.
Yeah,
It's easier.
but then if you're playing on your own like I was, it's 3 people, which isn't that difficult. But you somehow going up to them will heal them magically.
Yeah,
Um, Game logic. I'm not going to question it.
not
Um,
questioning it. It's in our benefit.
yeah, and then you fight the Nazguls.
Three
Um,
three ring wraiths.
yeah, 3 wing waves, and you have. But the way you can't damage them. First of all, you have to set them on fire. So if you've got Legolas's fire arrows, that will help you.
If not, there are fire pots around.
Yeah, fire pots around which can damage them. Also, the spears as well can damage them. Um, and then you win, and it's then down to Frodo and Sam,
And their first level is Escape from Osgiliath, which
which,
you escape from Osgiliath.
which is
You fight a bunch of you run past orcs. You avoid Nazgul because you have a timer when a Nazgul is looking for you. You got to avoid that. You're being led around by Gollum. You're playing as Sam here
yes,
if you're playing single player.
and
Yeah, you get down, you escape through the sewers, and that's that level.
yeah, and also you've
Pretty
got one of
easy.
those armored guys that appear in the end of that sewer level, which um
You can, and this is really funny. What you do is you can kick a bell, you push over a bell, and it rolls and bounces down the spiral staircase leading up the tower,
yeah.
and kills like 20 orcs, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't think it's 20 orcs, but it's certainly a few.
It kills a lot of orcs, and it breaks a door open. Is really funny.
Yeah, for the one in the sewer is where you fight that armored guy.
Yeah,
There are also an arrow guy as well. Sam just has knives that he throws, which is probably the weakest out of all the melee sort of ranged attacks
the
that
range,
anyone's got.
the, Gandalf's magic being the strongest.
Yes, Gandalf's magic being the strongest. If I had to put them in order, I'd say it's Gandalf's, Legolas's, Aragorn's, Gimli's, Sam's.
Hobbits,
Yes, hobbits.
because Sam, Mary, Frodo, and Pippin are all the same character.
Yeah, but you can upgrade their ones to poison ones. I think you can upgrade them more. I don't think I upgraded any of them.
You can turn invisible. There's literally no reason to do this, but you can do it.
Yeah, that's with your cloak. It is worthwhile upgrading these options, because otherwise, if you just have normal arrows by the Black Gate, you're not gonna do probably very well at all. You can get the strongest arrows for Legolas, which can penetrate other enemies and set them all on fire. And then the hobbits don't have this. And then you get to Shelob's
Yeah,
lair.
you get Shelob's Lair. You got to kill a bunch of spiders. Fortunately, unlike in the Hobbit game, these cannot poison you because that would be a real bastard. But you go through, you sneak past orcs, you drop flaming corpses
And
on
if
people,
you can
you
go to a
burn
dead
webs.
end and get trapped by about 5 of those spiders. They
Yeah, but you get a whole bunch of XP if you do that.
Yes, but you if you knock them down, try to stab them, which I found really annoying, they don't often register.
Hmm.
So
You fight through them, you burn webs, you burn spiders, then you reach Shelob, who is insanely fast.
And
The
OP'd.
way to fight her is you hit her with the sword, then she buggers off. She runs along the walls. Um, if you want, kill some of the spiders she has to like, and chance of finding a health potion to heal
I
yourself.
didn't find anything. I think it
But
dropped it once.
throw knives at her to piss her off, and then dodge out of the way, and
I would
then keep hitting her.
I would say that when she's on the wall, kill all her spiders. She will jump down when there's like one or two left, but do not throw knives at her when there are like 10 or more spiders, because not only will she then run at you and you're trying to attack these spiders and they can knock you down as well. Um, I've I this level broke me.
You kill Shelob. Well, you don't kill Shelob, but Shelob goes away.
Yeah, you
And then you go to Cirith Ungol, and it's the easiest Hobbit level. You use like trickery and subterfuge and traps to kill a whole bunch of orcs, and it's really funny.
I just basically let rip on all of them. I think I went the bit where they're all fighting, where you
You
drop,
can
where
do
you
that.
where, where
You can
you
do
drop
that.
you drop something on them that makes them fall through the
Chandelier,
floor. Yeah, the chandelier. I went in there to fight them all there, and let's say I was overwhelmed pretty quick.
obviously. You
Yes,
can fight them all if you're lucky or stupid, but you can. There are a lot of like little tricks and traps you can deploy all over
yeah,
the place.
you can do fire pits. You can drop things on them. You've got the spears, which you can basically throw at them, and you hit them in the back. Yeah, I struggled to find the right way because I forgot which way there was. You can also drop a drawbridge on them, and then when you get up the top, you can drop more barrels on top of them with flaming bits, and then they all retreat onto the bridge, which is the most.
Blow that up with a catapult, and then you have to be fast because it is collapsing, and it
Yes,
will kill you if you're not fast enough.
I was fast enough, luckily.
Then you fight an orc called Gorbag, who has a shield and spins around a lot. The point you got to break his shield, knock him down, and attack him.
Yeah, how I did it was I threw a spear at him, it broke his shield, and then threw
Yep.
another spear at him, it stuns him for a few seconds, and then I hit him with my sword.
Anyway, you kill him. An Urukai escapes with the mithril vest,
Or
which
the
is leads into the Black Gate, where
or the
it's like,
shiny shirt, as he calls it.
yeah, old greybeard. As a token, I was bidden to show thee. Know that he suffered greatly at the hands of his horse. Strains at once so small,
Can you endure so much pain?
pain.
And he
And
did.
indeed,
Gandalf, he did.
indeed. So then from there you go to the Crack of Doom for probably one of the most ridiculous boss fights
With a level 1 Frodo
against Smeagol.
or Gollum,
Yeah,
who
there's
you
one of the two.
cannot hurt unless you knock him off the edge, which is incredibly hard because he's
I found it pretty easy because you wait till he's near the edge, then start wailing on him with light attacks to get him to the edge,
yeah,
and then he'll fall off,
yeah,
and then then you do a stab down attack, and then it'll knock him down to the fire,
yes,
and you just do that 4 or 5 times.
yes,
It's
and then you stab
I
him down.
These are two Lord of the Rings games we've done these on now. I don't know what's a more ridiculous, insane final boss fight: the Eye of Sauron or Gollum.
Oh well, if I had
Those are
to,
both pretty freaking stupid.
I think if I had to pick one that I prefer, I don't think I can. I don't mind the Gollum one. I thought the Eye of Sauron was ridiculous because I still don't know how the fuck they got up that tower. Like,
Or how they got
like,
down from
well,
that
well,
tower.
well, think about this. Think about this. They're on the fields of the battlefield when Aragorn goes, "My friend, you kneel to no one," to Barethor, and then
Yeah.
suddenly they manage to get to the Black Gate, get through
Yep.
the Black
Get
Gate,
up the tower. Get into
in
Mordor. Get
Mordor,
up Barad-dûr.
past all the
Ah,
10,000 orcs that Gandalf clearly mentions in the film. 10,000 orcs now stand between them and Mount Doom, which then obviously they lead them off to the Black Gate. But then in amongst all that, they get into Mordor, past all the orcs, and how you can as clearly is mentioned in the film, the dwarf breathes so hard we could hear him in the dark. Very
Like
very
but you kill Gollum, you knock him into the fire, destroy the ring. Game's over. Congratulations, you win. That's Lord of the Rings trilogy.
So, favorite part from the Fellowship?
For the Fellowship, probably Bree. Actually,
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I did.
Bree was really fun.
I found it pretty difficult because I was going into this one blind. But if I had to pick one, I think that is good. Also, I enjoyed playing as Gandalf
Mm.
because I love his finishing attack. Um, favorite for Two Towers?
Two Towers. I'd have to say the Amon Hen and the Lurks fight.
Um, I'd
Oddly,
say
my favorite from Two Towers is again from Fellowship of the Ring.
okay. So let's talk about maybe a Two Towers part of that game. I'd say probably the plane, like maybe the one with the bombs.
The town where you have to like put out all the fires.
Yeah, that's the one where you start with Gandalf, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
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 like a
that's fun.
that's like a probably like a 10 minute level. Um, I'd say that's probably the one I can tolerate the most out of those three. Um, and favorite from Return.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Might have to be probably Paths of the Dead.
Okay. Different. Let's rephrase that one then. Favorite from each of the paths.
Okay.
That's more difficult, I'd say.
Top of the wall for Path of the Wizard.
Okay.
Because if you have playing, so you just get so in sync and so like once you can get figure out the map, it is like you feel so freaking efficient doing that. Favorite for the halflings would be Cirith Ungol, and favorite for Path of the King would be Paths of the Dead. Can we count Paths of the Dead and King of the Dead as one level?
I'd say we can. Um,
It's because that is when I was a kid. A mate of mine had this game on his PS2, and we'd only play that level. We could not beat Southern Gate, so we'd only play that level, and it had so much fun.
yeah,
Like the nostalgia factor
I,
is
I,
to that. But
I can understand that. I think the my favorite part from Fellowship for me is Bree or Moria. Uh,
mm,
for Two Towers. Um, I'd say probably the one I can tolerate the most maybe is the top of the wall. Um, I did choose the one with the bombs. Actually, no, I'm going to change that. Not the one with the bombs. I'd say probably the top of the wall is probably the most tolerable out of those because the Helm's Deep one. Who doesn't like to play the Battle of Helm's Deep? I mean, it's one of the most iconic parts of that second film. And then Return of the King for me, the Path of the Wizard. I'd say I enjoy the courtyard because that is a lot of fun because it's not that difficult. If you fail at that, then what the fuck are you doing? My favourite for uh, Return of the King, probably Southern Gate because that is a very simple
mm.
level again and a lot of fun. Um, and then the Hobbits is probably I say the same one as you, maybe. I do like Obscuriath as well. Worst part from Fellowship.
Worst part from Fellowship, the first chunk of that game, where you go from fetch quest to stealth set to surprisingly difficult stealth section. It's because that game has a very bad first impression.
And then Two Towers.
Do you even need to ask?
Yes, the viewers need to
The
know that.
deeping wall, hands down.
And then the worst parts of each of the paths on Return.
That's weird because there's not a bad level on the Path of the Wizard. Maybe Road to Isengard because trying to avoid being crushed by an ant is a little frustrating, and
especially when
blowing
you,
up the
especially when you got to kill
and
a certain amount of Urukai as well in that
yeah,
bit.
and blowing up the thing that's bracing the dam. If you haven't maxed out your ranged attack, is the most tedious experience.
Okay,
Um,
from the Path of the King,
Pelennor Fields,
and then I don't have to ask you about the Hobbit one.
Shelob,
Yeah.
Shelob.
For me, the worst.
No. Crack-a-Doom,
Oh, okay. Um,
Crack-a-Doom.
for me, Fellowship probably the worst bit is probably those where you have to find the hobbits.
Oh god,
Freaking
yeah.
hate those levels. All but all two of them, which why they got. Just stay together. When you go to a place you don't know and you're at the safety of the Shire, just stay together. It's not hard. Two towers. The Deeping Wall. I have nightmares about that level. And then Path of the Wizard. Um, probably I don't know. Road to Isengard, I think probably is the least likable one. I don't really have a least for him, because he just playing as Gandalf is fun anyway. But Path of the King, um, Paranor Fields, and then the Hobbit one, Shelob's Lair. Oh, ooh, just, no,
The thing is, I'm not afraid of spiders.
I don't
I
like
actually quite like spiders,
I don't like
so I don't
spiders,
really see it.
but
Usually, don't like fighting spiders in video games though, because they all seem to give like the poison. They all seem to poison you, and it's frustrating.
yeah,
But then I've seen worse spiders. The Hobbit has
but
worse spiders than
but
that. So
but the I valve I promised
you
myself,
vow,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I promised myself I am never gonna play Return of the King again because of that bloody Shelob level. I'm done with that game. Just we're done. We're
Well,
done.
until one day somewhere down the line where we both play it on the same console.
Oh, yeah, I
Like
mean,
this is the thing why this game I love the Return of the King has multiplayer, but where it doesn't really work is the path of the Hobbit.
yeah,
Because what you're doing as Sam in almost every single level is rescuing Frodo.
yeah, I'd say that's
So you
true.
can't play as Frodo.
So you play as Mary,
Mary, who's off in fucking Rohan right now.
but he's
I
been,
don't know. It's weird.
but but yeah, I mean, maybe like, people probably in the comments, and if you guys dare suggest it, that I have to replay that level again for your
Why?
enjoyment.
Why would they? They'll just watch your Let's Play and they'll be fine.
Yeah, like
You
that.
could watch Matthew and I crush that level on our Redux.
Oh, you have the benefit of playing with someone. I mean, I don't think I could.
And we also have the benefit of cheating.
Yeah, I don't. I couldn't. The cheats don't work until you complete the game.
The thing is, we played on PC and we used a trainer program,
Oh.
which is an exterior program that activates cheats, which oddly enough makes the Black Gate impossible because it makes you invincible, and only on this level also makes the generals invincible.
Oh dear. A bit like evil mode on Buddy Third
Yeah.
Age, that I couldn't kill Egolis because he was invulnerable, because he was in the same
Yep.
spot that Barathor was in,
Yep.
on the left side of the fighting ring for their side. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
my right, their left.
Yep.
So rating for Fellowship.
Fellowship, that's a solid 6 for me. It's fun, and I have nostalgic memories for it. But an important part of a game is gameplay, and its gameplay is just not that good.
Yeah, I would say my favourite bit.
It's a novelty more than
Or
anything
not my
else,
favourite
I'd
bit.
say.
My rating, not my favourite bit. I've already said that. My rating for it. probably um I'd say maybe a 7. I think it's let down by by those
Okay,
fetching
yeah.
for fight. I think not the fetch quest necessarily because I didn't do that, but the finding the Hobbit levels, it's let down by that definitely. It's a shame because it
The
should.
the thing with that one, it's like the 1970s Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings or the Rankin Bass Return of the King movie. Is it's definitely interesting, but better answers exist now, and it's more a curio. It's a novelty
I
more than an
didn't know that there
actual
was actually. So I know there was a 1972 Lord of the Rings, wasn't there?
set 1978. It was 1978. The Hobbit was 1972, I think, and then Return of the King they made in the late in like the early 80s. Different company that than did Lord of the Rings though.
I think it's animated, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all animated. Amusingly, in the animated Return of the King, Meriadoc Brandybuck is voiced by Shaggy from Scooby Doo.
No way.
Yes,
Wow.
and the Witch King shows up, and his head's made of fire. He looks exactly like he does in the book, and then he talks. He speaks.
What the Witch King does.
Old fool, this is my hour.
Is that the Witch King that you said speaks?
That's how he speaks in the movie.
Wow. Um. Okay,
There,
so
you can actually, if you're curious and you don't want to watch the movie because for some reason it's 2 hours long, despite being animated, it is also. I have a review of it on my channel. It's 40. It's the 40th episode of my show, Mindbreakers. Important thing to remember if you're going to watch this adaptation is Faramir, Legolas, and Gimli are cut out. They are not included in this adaptation of Return of the King.
why?
Don't know.
It's very strange.
Oh yeah,
Okay, so rating for Two Towers.
Two Towers. 7.
Yeah,
And
I'd agree with
it's
that.
it would be better without Return of the King because Return of the King is just better than it. But this game is like the nucleus of an entire genre of like 3D movie based beat 'em ups. The King Arthur game, the Aragon game. There's a Batman game with this, Revenge of the Sith, the Narnia games. All of those are based on this engine, so it's historically super relevant.
I've not played the other ones you mentioned.
There, I played all of them.
Well,
No,
Narnia
they're all
games,
kind
you
of,
played that.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I've not played the Narnia games. But I'd agree with you on the Fellowship. 7 out of 10. I think it does. I remember what you said the other week about it being like a tech demo in a sense for the Return of the King. I think in this, for me, they were kind of like testing the water of certain um, way things would work with like certain attacks and stuff, and they kept a lot of that for Return of the King. They didn't change too much, apart from the fact it was graphically better, even though it's on the same console
Like it's
generation.
surprising. It looks really freaking good even now.
Yeah,
The
it does certainly. I mean, Return of the King looks very good. I mean, the character models look very well done for their movie counterparts.
like
Even though,
especially considering only like that game came out in 2003. Freaking 3 years earlier, it was Max Payne. Like, think about that. This is 3 years of improvement. Hell, it's only 4 years of improvement since GoldenEye.
well,
That's amazing if
I
you think
didn't.
about it.
Yeah, I mean, the first, or if the way Max Payne looks in the first game, it looks horrible.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's only 3 years to get from
but
that to
but
that.
but they are making a remake of Max Payne. It's very
I thought they already had.
no. it's very early doors, but they have announced a remake of that game, which I love the Max Payne first game. Have you played it on the channel?
No, but I have a game coming out which is based on it. But it's called Hard Boiled. No, that's the movie. Stranglehold.
Oh yeah, Stranglehold. I would definitely recommend Max Payne. It's got challenge. It's got this uniqueness of bullet time,
What
which they admit.
is your rating for Return of the King to get us back on track?
Oh yes, sorry about that. So my rating for Return of the King, um, I'd say a solid 8. I take 2 points off purely for the Shelob
I have
level.
two ratings for it. It is 7.5 single player. It is 9 multiplayer.
Yeah, for me, 8. Because I take 2 off because purely because of
Yes,
that
you
Shelob.
love.
Just just yeah.
No,
Everyone who's
if you
laughing
hate
at me in the
Shelob,
comments, big fuck you. Well, not literally, but just
look, anyone laughing at him in the comments about the spider thing, I will personally find your postcode and I will mail you spiders, and we'll see how you fucking like it.
yeah. I mean, like, I don't like spiders. I mean, I freaked out when a spider suddenly appeared in my bath, and my ex-partner laughed her head off because she thought it was hilarious. I'm like, I got spooked I mean, for some reason, my spiders love my bath. It's like, it's my bath. Go away. It's my bath.
Definitely do not play the Hobbit. The spiders are 10 times worse because
Yeah.
they give you the poison effect too.
Oh. Um.
It's the Hobbit game is
But
awful.
yeah, I'd say 8 out of 10. Sorry, my eyes are watering. Um. But yeah. But yeah, if you want to play these games, I would recommend all three. Um. Just see if you have the same experience with I know that came through
What
the
would have
mic
been
of me run my I probably run my mic. Sorry about
what
that.
would have been cool for them to do, I think, is remember that game that came out in like 2008, 2009, Aragorn's Quest?
I haven't played that one.
It's not good. It is not a good game. It actually makes many worst Lord of the Rings games of all time lists. But what I'd recommend for what they I think should have done instead is do the entire trilogy in the style of the Return of the King game, but with like upgraded graphics, maybe more than 2 players, who knows? But like do all of the movies and all of the scenes, except obviously the scenes you can't make into a video game level. But like the chase, the Nazgul chasing into the Buckleberry Ferry could be cool. Bree, there's stuff more stuff you could have done with that
Yeah, I
because
think
they're
they could have included Bree in this one. Um, it would have been interesting, maybe, like not necessarily to fight off the Nazgul, but maybe to kind of like do something else, a bit like what Fellowship did, with a bit of uniqueness, playing as Aragon. I think Fellowship gets a bit of a good rating because it does let you play as Aragon, where you weren't really expect. I mean, I did see some footage of that game, and when I saw Aragon, I was like, that actually looks interesting. But this was like 5 years ago, and
I had I got this game. I didn't know this game existed, and then like 2003, I think, one of my cousins gave it to me for a Christmas gift, and I could not get past the first level for the longest goddamn time. But I had a lot of fun with it as a kid. I have a lot of memories of this one.
yes, but we're gonna have to wrap this up because it's getting late
Yeah,
where I
yeah.
am.
So definitely check both these out if you want. They're pretty fun. They're all three of these are pretty fun.
Yeah, they are fun. They are different. They are having uniqueness. They have a bit of a good level of spark to them. They are different in all their own way. They have good things and bad things. Shit, hop level.
Yeah, Sheila.
Yes. Um, on par with the log level. Um,
Hmm.
well, I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah, I think from now on we don't mention the log level, the sheep
No,
lob
never,
level.
never.
Uh,
Anyway, I've been Merrick D'Amato,
and I've been Classic Gamer.
and if you're watching this on Classix channel, no, if you're watching this on my channel, please find links in the description. You can check out Classix YouTube channel at that link, and you can check out his Twitch on the other link. If you go on his Twitch, don't be a dick, because I am a mod and I will ban you, no questions asked.
Yeah, I'm currently on
Like
79.
especially if you're coming to this from my channel and you go be an asshole, you're making me look bad. So don't do that.
Yes, I've got 79 followers at the moment. I'm trying to get to 100. I have said it on my Twitch streams before, but if you do help me get to 100 followers over the next however long, I will do a game of the followers' choice, but not Red Dead Redemption 2 because I don't have that game, and I know certain people.
And to some of you who I've seen in the comments, not Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
No, no,
Like why'd you want that one?
I don't. I mean, I'll play the single player, but I haven't got that one game also on my Steam, so I can't play games I haven't got. Um, and there aren't really other ways that I can do it. Um, not ways that are right.
Mm.
Yeah, enough about said better. But I will do games at some point, maybe on that level. But at the moment, no. I'm currently doing Splinter Cell. I'm doing a marathon of that because we want to get as soon as your Merrick's LPs of the first three games are done. We will do a trilogy like this one of the first three Splinter Cells, and then when Double Agent is done, we will do that. I will do both versions of Double Agent on stream. I might do the PS2 versions as well of each games because they are very different. But that's going to be a
I
very
might be doing both versions of Double Agent as well.
well. I think you'll enjoy the other version a lot better.
That's not saying a whole hell of a lot,
Well,
frankly.
it's it's on the same kind of style as Chaos Theory,
Okay.
but
Because playing Double Agent, I had a miserable freaking time.
yes,
Hated that
On
game.
PC it's not fun. But yes, please go and check out both our channels. Please subscribe. Please go and follow me. As I said, I will do a follower's choice. But please come in and be cool, be calm. Have fun. I'm welcome with that. I do have moderators that are in the chat. A lot of the time they are. Um, but sometimes the times don't always correspond with um, some of my mods because of time differences, which is just unfortunate. But I do have other mods also in the
But this
UK.
is this is something I'd like to remind them of. Sometimes there'll be a mod in the chat. Sometimes there won't be. Point is, you won't know when we're there and when we're not. So assume we're there and act as if we're there.
Yeah, I mean, you will know that someone's a mod when they chat, because unless you hover over it, it will tell you. So it will say, but the other moderators that are around as well. Um, Also on tomorrow evening, well, this is not going to come out for a long while, but obviously on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can catch me and Dragon doing a stream of some kind. At the moment, we're doing Forest. We won't be doing that by the time this comes out, most likely. Um, but be sure to follow me. Also, if you subscribe, thank you very much in advance. It will really help out the channel. I probably will be over 100 followers by the time this video releases, actually, to be honest. Um, so I will have done that follower's choice already. That's just come to mind. But yes, but thank you very much for listening for us tonight. It's been our longest podcast so far.
Well, it's Lord of the Rings. I mean, frankly, this podcast has been longer than some of these games.
Yes. Um, combined, like doing it single would have been too short. But anyway, thank you very much, guys, for listening and watching. And we'll do another podcast. Probably, I think the next one is Godfather. We're gonna plan to do.
But we don't know if it's going to be the next one that comes out because you've been releasing these without letting me know in advance.
Yeah.
But we'll see you in the next one, guys.
Yes.
Ciao.
Ciao.